Welcome back to the second episode of the Humans of Developer DAO podcast. In this episode, we'll be chatting with Rahat Codes. He shares with us his journey into Web3 and Developer DAO. We'll learn about his passion for music and how he hopes to integrate it with Web3. Next, we discuss the creation of Web3Con, a virtual Web3 conference that took place earlier this year. And finally, we'll be chatting with Rahat about his experiences as a developer advocate at Polygon. This is a great podcast and I really hope you enjoy it. Let's dive in. I'm super excited to have you join us. In terms of this Humans of Developer DAO, we'd love to introduce you. So would you like to share your story? Like, who is Rahat?
Yeah, so Rahat, I've been in the Web3 space now for about a year, a little over a year. About January of last 2020 is when I really started diving in and trying to understand what was going on in the space. I think I joined right before the NFT craze kind of took off, and I was just like, why are people making all this money off of pictures of monkeys and rocks and stuff? Like, what is going on here? And I got a little curious, wondering, I've been kind of I guess crypto curious for a while, since 2017-ish, with all the different ICOs and things that happened. And I was more of a casual observer since then. But last year is when I really decided, okay, let me go in and learn about what's going on. If this is something I want to explore, something I want to help build. And my initial sort of interest in Web3 was more along the lines of NFTs are really cool. How can I do this for musicians? I'm a former musician, and I was just kind of thinking back to Spotify giving me pennies for thousands of plays that I had or whatever. And I was just it would be wonderful if we could actually get talented musicians real sustainable income so they can follow their passions and they don't have to give up music and become a dev, or whatever. And not saying I'm a talented musician, but and yeah, I mean, it just clicked to me as this is a way that we can really let people kind of follow their passions and follow their dreams and try a new avenue of just creating content, creating music, art, whatever it is. And I've never really let go of that. I'm still kind of in the background working on some music stuff, specifically related to Web3 and things like that. But as I started really diving in and learning it, the way that I learn things is I try to learn something and teach it to someone else. That's just how I've always kind of done things since the beginning as a developer in the front end engineering space and full stack, whatever. And I just started sharing what I was learning in the form of blog posts, little video content. I was doing all, I guess, the different popular projects that are out there, Build Space. Chainlink had a really awesome boot camp that I went to that I think really helped me out. And just learning from all these different things. And then I had noticed Nader Dabbit was sharing a bunch of stuff. He had joined Edge and Node. I had realized that, and I was like, okay, this is cool. This is someone that I know, that I've been following for a while, who's in the space. Let me see if I can learn, from him a little bit. And I just kind of dived in, kind of after a little bit further, even more, just seeing his tutorials and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear your kind of your timeline of you starting off thinking about your passions in music and how that relates to how you can use it yourself, and then you dove in and start to build as much as possible, and there's so many different offerings. So that's awesome. One thing I'd love to see is you share your music, because I know you had an awesome video that when you posted for Polygon, that rap. So hopefully we see some more videos come out, even with collaboration with Polygon. That'd be pretty dope.
No, I feel Web3 is definitely giving me another sort of way of just getting back into things that make me happy and make me just fun. So I'm definitely looking at doing some more music stuff.
Okay, sweet. So no, that's the perfect leeway into the next question would be, What are your biggest passions and interests, and in relation to tech?
Yeah, I think right now, I explore a lot of like I've always explored a lot of like I guess my passions through like side projects and things like that.
Hmm.
So like I mean the cool thing with my job right now with Polygon is like I get to explore a lot of those kind of like on the job still and like learn about different parts of the technology. I'm really interested in just like seeing you know two things like how we can really take music NFTs somewhere outside of just like what you see with like the the profile picture type NFTs drops. I don't think that model really works for music. So I'm trying to like just like look at like the different ways that like the tech that powers NFTs, like smart contracts, things like that, can actually help out musicians. Um, so with that, I've been like experimenting with my own like NFT drops of like music related and things like that, and I think that's where I get to kind of like take the day job and like combine it with
Yeah.
passions, and it's one of my favorite things about being like a developer advocate, being able to just like explore that. Um, I think other than that, I've also been like really interested in like how we can like really take play to earn gaming,
Mm.
to like a new level. Um, like I think with like Axie Infinity and a couple of other games, like you see, like in countries like the Philippines, like people are like literally playing these games full time and making like a better salary than they would have from just like regular jobs, and that's like amazing. Like
Yeah.
if I could like, go back in time and tell my parents like, yo, I can make money by playing video games, right? I don't have to study. That would be awesome. Um, but no, like on this, like seriously, like this just kind of opens up like new avenues for, how people can, just build a sustainable life doing things that they enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, like 2 points on that would be one, the music NFTs are so cool. I spent an entire weekend trying to convince my friends into this entire world. But it's I think that mass adoption is just waiting to happen because I
Yeah.
think disruption with Spotify, Apple Music, though those platforms are great for like an average creator who's not in the like the top tier of like 1%, it's really hard to actually make a living. So like such a cool way. And then the same thing goes for the people in the Philippines. I've seen so many stories of people just like spending their days and just playing video games, but actually earning money
Yeah.
doing it. So that's pretty amazing. Um,
Yeah. One of the things you said about like, disrupting just like, those companies that are out there, like a couple of weeks ago, I was trying to do this simple little kind of, NFT contract workshop thing I was
mhm,
working on. And one of the things I wanted to do was take like one of my old songs and like mint it as an NFT.
yeah,
And then the issue became like, I couldn't like this was songs that were like backed up on a hard drive that is somewhere in my house that I couldn't find. But I was like, okay, let me just go and like download from like iTunes or something like that. And then I came to a point where it's like, holy crap, is everything like a streaming service now? What if I just want to download my own? Like, I'm trying to download my own music, like, and I can't do it because like the way that these like companies are structured and things
yeah,
like that, there's no easy way for me to get the music that I own
damn,
off of their platform.
yeah.
You know?
Wow, that's pretty crazy. Did you end up figuring it out?
No, I ended up just making a new song.
Alright, at least hopefully kind of like, or you perhaps even find like an old USB somewhere.
Yeah, I'll
And
probably
I
find
just
something
yeah,
eventually.
yeah. It's just a matter of like looking for it and like even though it's offered, so that must be like a really frustrating thing. Dang.
Yeah. Like
Um,
at one point, I was like, do I have to pirate my own music? Like,
that'd be pretty funny. That would definitely be pretty funny. Actually, like kind of going through that, like having to download maybe even like LimeWare and
yeah.
just like going through that loop. Um, that's pretty funny. That's awesome. So the next question is, when it comes to Web3 and developer DAO, what came first for you?
I think, yeah, Web3 kind of came first with just like kind of following all these different tutorials, these different things, and then following like Natter, especially when he started like sharing a bunch of different tutorials. And then it was that like one moment on that one stream where he was just like building the Genesis NFT. And I remember just like tuning in for that and watching it, like, oh, this is dope. Just like seeing like him kind of like fork the loot contract in like real time and like build something. And then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna start a DAO. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like I had kind of like heard about DAOs at that point, but it was kind of just like this like hazy sort of like this thing that exists in the Web3 space, right? And I tried kind of like joining a couple different ones. I was just in some discords, but like I just couldn't find a place that like I felt like I don't know, like I belonged or like I could actually contribute or anything like that. And then all of a sudden developer DAO kind of like became a thing. I joined that Discord, and I remember like early on, they were just like, yeah, we're looking for mods and people who can help. I was like, you know what? I want to see what I can do, what I can like, how I can kind of be involved. So I immediately just DM someone who's like, yeah, I can be a mod, I can help out. So I very early just became a mod. And, at the beginning, I wish I was a little bit more active than I ended up being. Just because I started one of my first jobs in Web3 also at the same time. I was like working as a front end engineer at Rabbit Hole then, and just kind of like I kept kind of like developer out there, and just like kept diving into like the Web3 side of things, and then I came back to developer DAO and I was like, okay, I really want to be more active now. I really want to see like what I can do here. And I just like started talking to people, started interacting, started, like everything around like Web3Con was, like we decided everyone was talking about wanting to do like an event, but no one was really like leading it. So I was like, okay, this is where I can probably step in. I can like come in and like just get people together and start building out like a conference or something. And I think a combination of that and just like starting to go to like conferences and stuff. Like I went to ETH Denver, met a bunch of developer DAO folks in real life, and like those connections that started being made after that was just like I feel like really boosted my journey into Web3. Like I got into Web3 first and then to developer DAO.
Yeah.
But developer DAO is what really like boosted that journey up a bit more. I feel like, I was able to fast forward through a lot of different things because now I'm able to like talk to people in the DAO who are, building stuff, have experience already. I can learn from them. And then I can just start giving back and sharing my own experiences too. And, developer DAO has definitely been an incredible place to facilitate that experience and like I guess press that fast forward button to get through and like really start building. So that's just been like the best thing about joining this. Like I tell people all the time, I don't think I would have gotten to where I am right now if I didn't like buy that NFT and like and just start actually contributing.
No, that's awesome. So you touch on so many cool points, and I would love for you to even talk about why you created or you started and organized the entire Web3 Con. To give you some context too, I attended Web3 Con and met a few people from the DAO, and that was what led me, like one conversation, to actually joining the same weekend.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so just like kind of going into one of the rooms that were available, chatting with people on GatherTown, and then just like deciding like the next day essentially that I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna purchase an NFT.
Yeah, that is awesome. No, just hearing that just made my day. That is amazing. I mean, like for Web3Con, at first I was just kind of thinking, almost like I was wondering about doing something. Like I'm from New York. I was wondering about just putting like a small meetup or something together in New York. Seeing just like how it worked, what people might be interested in locally. I remember one of our other DAO members, Michelle, she had done something similar in Miami. I was like, this is cool. It would be awesome to do something like that in New York. And then I just kept thinking about it. I'm like, well, why stop at New York? You know, it's just like, yeah, I could do something cool with like local folks, but like developer DAO itself is more like it's not just New York. It's New York, Miami. It's everywhere. It's
Yeah.
like all across. It's global now at this point. And at first I was just like, all right, I'm gonna plan like an IRL conference somewhere, and we'll get a whole bunch of developer DAO people there. And then I just had this reality check of like, maybe as a first thing, maybe we could do something more in the virtual space to make it more, inclusive to everybody who is actually in the DAO. Um, so, I spoke to Michelle, who she's also like an organizer for React Miami.
Hmm.
Just kind of like learning a little bit from her and her experiences and like organizing that conference. I spoke to Lena from Hedera, and she was like really cool, awesome, of just like giving me a bunch of advice on how to put together, an event and things like that. And I started just like reaching out to more people who've like done conferences, who've done this, and
Yeah.
just like gathering a bunch of info. Um, and then I just hit up Natter, and I'm just like, hey, we want to do this. A bunch of people are saying they want to do this. We just need to just kickstart it and start leading it. And like Natter was immediately like, hell yes, let's do this. I'm on board. Whatever you need, I got you. And like I think that conversation is like really what kind of like led me, like flipped the switch for me. Is like, okay, I'm definitely doing this. Especially when like someone who like created this entire community is just like willing to just like give you the reins and just like tell you like go for it.
Yeah.
That was really helpful for me in like saying, okay, I'm going to do this. Um, and then after that, I joined a town hall, just announced that this is what I'm working on, and I want more people to kind of get involved. And from there, slowly we just started building, I guess, like the Web3 Con team. Um, and I just have to get like I may have started this thing, but the people who like really took this far and like the reason it's successful are like people like Josh in the DAO. Josh, he works with Anchor now as a developer advocate. Sarah, she was like super instrumental in like putting a whole bunch of things together. Narb, who put together like the hackathon and like getting all of like just making a good experience for like all the developers who wanted to like actually build stuff. Colin, for really like all of the different sponsors that he was able to nail down for us. And Dappa Dan, Dan was like took initiative on like making sure we like had a diverse lineup of speakers. Like we didn't just want this to be another conference
Hmm.
that like all the same folks that you see in other conferences are there as well. And I think he did an amazing job at that. Like he reached out to a lot of different people to like encourage them, to join in. We had people from both inside the DAO as well as outside the DAO speaking. A lot of first time speakers, which was amazing to me. And there's more people involved in
Yeah.
this behind the scenes, but like, and I'd probably spend the next hour just like thanking everyone. But I really couldn't have done it without them. They were like really instrumental in like pushing this forward.
No, that's amazing. So yeah, I definitely recognize quite a few of those names that you mentioned. They're all really active members, and like
Yeah,
just joining into a voice chat or like a voice call, like those are the names that you'll always see. Just being active, encouraging people to join. Like they take the time to even like support you, even if you're just a new member and like trying to navigate
absolutely.
the space. So that's pretty awesome. The next question that I have would be to understand what makes you keep coming back to the DAO. Is there something particular, or are there a few things that like kind of want you week after week to even just like return, meet new members? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a few things. First is the people. Um, you know, I think especially during the time of like organizing, Web3Con, I was able to like really forge some relationships with, the other organizers. And then, having the privilege and opportunity to meet a bunch of them in real life, I feel like really solidified those relationships a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of it is coming back just to be like, yeah, I just want to hang out with the homies and build stuff, Um, and, that vibe is just like kind of like always there.
Yeah.
Just like these are like, at this point, like we're friends, we all are interested in like the same kind of stuff. We can learn from each other, work together, and like pulling off these like wild things,
Yeah.
like this conference. And those relationships are definitely first and foremost what keep me coming back. Like, um, I just want to like create more, of those relationships. Let me see if I can like, you know, help someone else get into the space. Let me see if I can like learn from someone doing really cool stuff here.
Yeah.
And that's I guess like that hunger for like wanting to do more in Web3 is like what keeps me coming back, and like just like that understanding that developer DAO is the place that I can come back to, and like always have you know either someone I've already connected with, and like just like learn some cool stuff from them, or just like discover someone new, someone building something awesome.
Yeah.
Like if you just like look at like the dev guild and stuff, there's so many cool stuff that are like coming out of that, so many cool projects. Sometimes I go into like the booster content channel, and I'm just like looking at some of the different things people put in there and share. It was like I could just like sit in there like half the day and just like read through different articles and just like learn a bunch of stuff. And I feel like it's it like developer DAO has become just like this place, this community to just like come and if you want to learn, you can learn. You want to build, you can build. You want to just like hang out and vibe, you can do that too. It's like there's something for everybody.
No, that's awesome. I definitely go on the boost your channel, your content channel for sure. There's so many people creating either like different projects that I've never even thought of, or even just like writing articles just about in the most basic way. So for me, where I'm still like learning, it's awesome to kind of like get that perspective too. So it's pretty great. When it comes to the fact that you've already been in the DAO for a while, you've met some really awesome people. Is there anything that the DAO can continue doing or can do less going forward in the future, just as it continues to develop and elevate?
Yeah, I mean, like for me, like I was very privileged in the sense that I was able to like head out to like something in real life, like meet Denver, and meet a bunch of people, and like have that like forge that like deeper connection with a bunch of different DAO members. And I think one thing I see that developer DAO is doing, like shout out to people like Babe, who are like setting things up where people can actually have like travel scholarships and go to these meetups and things like that, and like really get that extra kind of almost belonging or feel that you might get from like meeting someone in real life.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that the DAO is like doing that a little bit more. And yeah, I feel like if the DAO could focus more on just like maybe some more of those, like I guess maybe more maybe not as much as like the bigger, like definitely still have like those bigger meetups, like going to those conferences, but maybe doing more of like those intimate like DAO only kind of like events would be cool too, because like people in the DAO we're kind of we're already speaking to each other. It'd be cool. It's cool to like put faces to like avatars and names,
Yeah.
and like I remember like for instance, like when I met Josh for the first time, like me and Josh had spoken so many times over like video chats, over Discord, over whatever, and then like boom, we got to meet in real life and then talk about a bunch of stuff, and then like sitting with all of the different DAO members at like ETH Denver and just talking about how we can like continue building developer DAO, and things like that. Is just like this is an amazing experience, but there's like so many other people who like can't be there, who like I wish could be there and like could contribute so much to these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really happy that developer DAO is like being really active in like doing stuff where we're trying to send more people to like these different events and things like that.
Yeah, 100%. So for me, on Twitter, I've seen East Dubai. I know you went there. You were
Yeah,
at East Denver. Like those are some super dope events taking place. So from I've yet to go to one. So NFT NYC literally on my calendar, like written X'd off. Like I'll be there 100%. So I'm super
nice.
excited to see like to kind of exactly what you said. Put like faces to the names that you constantly see on Twitter and like on Discord, and
Hmm.
like that community you build like virtually is actually existent in real life.
Yeah,
So that's definitely the most excited part. I'm just like smiling thinking about like how much fun I'm gonna have when I in like 2 months, I would
definitely.
say. So I'm super excited. Hopefully, we get a chance to meet there too.
Yeah, we definitely should. I mean, I
Yeah.
live in NYC, so
Yeah, that'd be I've never been, so I've only heard like only great things. So that'd be really awesome. Now, for anyone that's like watching this or reading this, and curious about developer DAO, curious about kind of like wanting to get in, why should they be joining or why should they be interested in taking part in it?
yeah, I think it's gonna be you know, like one of the things I mentioned before is just like I was already learning Web3. I was like doing a bunch of stuff and trying to like get involved in the space. Um, but developer DAO was almost like that fast forward button to like get through and like really cut through like a lot of the noise and like really get focused on like stuff that's meaningful, stuff that can like help me grow in this space. Um, like when I came in, decided to take the initiative for Web3Con. That's what led me to the job that I have right now. Polygon was actually like one of the sponsors for Web3Con, and I had gotten in contact with like some of the DevRel team through that, and then got the opportunity to meet them in Denver, and then things kind of like went off from there, and then I started working as a developer advocate there, and none of that would have been possible without me like deciding to like come in, be part of developer DAO, and just like decide to be active and like lead some initiatives in this space. And the thing is, like, I feel like developer DAO is just could be this place that connects so many different people because there's already partnerships going on like beyond Web3Con. There's sponsorships, partnerships going on with developer DAO and like some of the biggest kind of protocols and people like building in the space. And we've got this community of people who are building, learning, and all we got to do now is just kind of like connect the dots a little bit and get people in the right places and the right conversations. The way like my friend Naz, who's also one of the mods at Developer DAO, he's the one that kind of like saw one of my tweets, kind of like is expressing interest in Polygon. He's like, "Yo, they're one of our sponsors. Let me get you into this like Telegram conversation and just start talking." Just like you know, the people in developer DAO are just like amazing and like helping everyone out and like getting coordinated and talking to the right people, and there's so much value in that, and just like being able to just like step into the right place, the right conversation, and developer DAO I feel is like almost like a central hub for being able to do that.
Yeah. No, that's pretty awesome. And especially that story of you, and I know you've done this quite a few times, of just putting it out there and manifesting your way through kind of like wanting to get to one role or wanting to do something and actually have speaking it out into the world and seeing people in developer dive and just reach out and like create those opportunities,
Yeah,
or more so like the gateways, because you've already creating those opportunities for yourself, right?
yeah. I mean, it's just like if you don't say it out loud, then
Yeah.
like how do people kind of know?
Yeah. And I definitely, and I think in Web3, that's like a really important part of just being vocal, sharing in public, and like learning in public,
Hmm.
because everyone together is like working together towards the same goal, right? Now, for someone that just joined the DAO and they're still navigating the Discord, the community, how would you approach it if you were to join today?
Yeah, it's it's very overwhelming when you first kind of join. I know we've got like the guilds system kind of now that really helps out in like making it less overwhelming. So it's just like, I guess, figuring out like how you want to contribute, where you want to contribute. You know, if you're specifically a developer, you want to go in, you want to build stuff, then you know, Dev Guild is probably a place you want to join. Um, and it can be intimidating and very hard to like, you know, just jump in and like, you know, try to contribute right away.
Yeah.
But I think one of the coolest parts about like developer DAO is just like, you know, all those like conversations and meetings and things that happen in like the developer voice channels. None of those are private, you know, they're open and like anyone can join. Like,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily need to be part of the project, but like maybe you just want to learn about what's going on. You want to learn what people are building, what people are doing. Just just hop into one of the voice channels. You know, you don't have to talk. You don't have to say anything. You just listen and just like try to learn and figure out like where you might be able to get involved. You know, I know there's like plenty of people who do that, who just kind of like, you know, pop in, kind of listen, and then slowly they've started becoming contributors,
Yeah.
right? Um, and I love the fact that like everything that we're kind of doing in the DAO is just like accessible to everybody, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
There's no like, you know, you have to be, I don't know, have X amount of qualifications or whatever to like jump in and be part of it. No, all the conversations happen in the different voice channels that anybody can join, and you know, that's where I would just like recommend some people just like starting, just like listen in sometimes when like you could be doing something else and maybe like treat it kind of like a podcast just in the back of your head, just
Yeah.
like on headphones, just like listen in, see what's going on. And then if something interests you, see where you might be able to fit in.
No, that's perfect. I've definitely done that. Treating it like a podcast and just like listening in to like, oh, someone's building with X technology. Never heard of it. I'm just gonna Google it real quick. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of recaps the entire kind of this interview. Um, for anyone curious to keep learning about you personally, to learn about ways to interact with you or just kind of reach out to you, is there anything you'd like to kind of shout out, whether it's your projects or your, you know, the content you create?
Yeah, I mean, like I've been putting out, I've been working on a bunch of content to put out. I recently put something out on my YouTube channel. Um, and yeah, I mean, like if you want to keep up with the different things I do, the different projects that you know, I'm tinkering around with. I'm like a indie hacker developer person too, like aside from developer advocacy. So like um, I'm always like working on something, even if it's like something tiny or whatever. So definitely Twitter's probably the best place. Like it's at Rahat Codes. Just follow me there. I'm always like sharing updates and different projects I'm working on there.
Okay, sweet. Thank you so much. And hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you for
Sounds
having me
good.
on.